Hello everyone. Doing a little something special today. I'm going to ramble on a little bit though while the ad is going. Alright, maybe it's done for everyone. My name is Keith Quinn, or Sannio on the forums if you don't know me already. Chris Atos Spears is away, so he wasn't able to do his typical live stream. I'm going to do a just a simple fill-in sort of situation. I know Chris was showing off some of his world building of his Tartarus dungeon, and I'm going to be showing off my reimagining of the Ulfheim scene. If you don't know, actually, hold on a second. Let's see if I can. It's a little hard to see, but so if you look at the top center of the map, kind of near the mountains, this little mountain area, top center, that's where Ulfheim is. That's where it is right now. And if you look at my editor right now, Ulfheim is a fairly simple scene. I guess I could turn the lights on. Let's see if the lights kick in. Hopefully everyone can hear me, by the way. I don't know, sometimes I get the squeaky voice. The robo chipmunk. The robo... I think I'm fine. Alright, so what we're looking at right now on my screen is Ulfheim. I'm going to move some windows around a little bit before I get into it. I don't normally have my layout like this, so it's a little rough. It takes a little bit for editor to catch up. Okay. So here's a kind of a bird's eye view of Ulfheim right now. I think you come in over here, or a corner that's pretty much just like this. And as you work your way through and up, we have the single symbolic Viking home that was kind of a placeholder for me for the eventual reworking of Ulfheim. And of course, things got in the way, and a long time goes by, but now I'm working on the change. Volume may be a bit low. Do I have a way to increase my volume? How about that? Is that better? Volume's a little bit up, maybe? Okay, so this is Ulfheim. We're looking at the old version. We do a little magic, turn that off, turn that on. Click off, click off. All right, so this is pretty rough. It's a blockout situation, but it might be a little hard to figure out what's going on here. But Ulfheim, it's a little bit of partially snow, partly melting, perhaps. There'll be a lot of trees. I don't have a lot of trees right now, but you'll come in from the south as normal. I'm just going to give you the rundown first of what the scene, the layout of the scene, the block out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the little bits and pieces that will be the main parts of the reimagined Ulfheim. Ulfheim is going to be kind of a big deal, kind of a multi-part wave battle, kind of raidy sort of situation, a little bit like Granus Colossus is, where it's got the like chunk after chunk of wave battles. Something that's sort of like be like a high-level destination scene rather than just the mildly interesting scene because it has some NPCs that you might not normally fight. Anyway, you will every once in a while I'm going to check the chat, by the way, and when I pause, that's what I'm doing, checking the chat. So you will come into the valley area, and in the valley there will be a wave battle. There'll be a few NPCs. You fight several waves, and when they're done, I guess I got some trees in the way, but when they're done, the door will open, and then you'll come through here. And I'm in the editor, by the way. I'm not in play mode. So you're actually seeing like little notes. You can see south right here in the center of the screen, and now in the center you see backwards tree houses. So these are little hints for myself to help me figure out what's where. So we defeated the valley NPCs, the barbarians. This is going to be mostly a barbarian scene right now. There's a few barbarians in the center. It's going to be mostly barbarians now. It's going to be tougher wave battles. So you'll be down here in the high tree area. There'll be more high trees, but these are the pivotal ones for which you'll need to do. You'll make your way across. Some of these trees might seem familiar to those who have been in South Boundless Forest. Basically just lifted from that scene, but I'll be making some adjustments. So you can see I get up here, we'll fight our way through here, we'll come across over here, fight our way across, up the ladder, across. So this is all just open fighting, free fighting kind of situation. Someone asked what zone is this going to be. This is Ulfheim. It's a complete reimagining of the scene, although I will do my best to keep the current resources, and if there's any special boss NPC types, they should still be in here. So like if I can't remember off the top of my head, but if there's like some sort of obsidian wolf in there somewhere, then I'll make sure that there's obsidian wolves in here. So so it'll be a new experience, but I don't want to take away anything that players were really excited about in the original version. So anyway, we'll fight our way along here. Because it's a directed experience, there'll be certain areas where you can't jump off, and this will be one of them. It won't be a little. I'll probably like take some of these. I'll call them barricades and put them up here instead of just the fence. So we'll fight back here, climb the ladder or jump down, go across this way. There'll be a special doorway here as a stretch for myself. It'll just be any normal player could just go through by himself if you wanted to, but I want to put in a special gimmick here where if 4 players do a certain something special, then it changes the next area, and the change is still to be decided. By the way, I don't do the raffle stuff is more for Chris. Chris is the raffle master. I don't have the raffle going on with this. So this is more of just information sharing. And soon you'll be watching me just decorating, and we'll get into the super boring parts of it. I hope you look forward to it. This is a big long bridge. There'll be no walls on the side, so you can fall off. These purple areas, little trigger volumes, so they can break. So this is a breakable bridge, as some of you players may know. When you get to the other side, you'll come from the tree house area into the nicer part. So we can see that the barbarians actually have some crafting skills. So that single house in the old Ulfheim wasn't just a one-off. It wasn't just a placeholder, as in like, oh, there's one house that the barbarians have. They actually have skills. You know, you can kind of assume that they make weapons for themselves, they make bows for themselves. They actually have a lot of skills besides just making rough tree houses and tents. So as we continue through Ulfheim, this is still another open area. So in the valley, let me back up a little bit. So for players who coming in late, in the valley, we came in through the valley, and we fought a wave battle. We went up the ramp over here on the left, up to the treehouse area, first on the ground level of the treehouse, and then through the treehouses. And now we're fighting through the Ulfheim town. And this is probably what I'm going to continue working on for the most part today. And then as we go through here, this is, I guess, the higher class section of the Ulfheim people. Sorry about the big orange volume right there. That's another trigger. So this will be another wave battle, a little bit tougher than the Valley wave battle. So this is a tier 8+ scene, and it'll remain an 8+ scene, although 8+ before kind of meant tier 8 and a couple of like tier 10, 15. Now you'll be fighting a lot of bigger groups of tier 8s. This is not an episode 2 zone. This is an episode 1 zone. It's in North Palatus. So Ulfheim is in the top right of North Palatus. If you know where the Palatus Shortfall is, it's I guess, is it east northeast of that, or northwest of Northwood, and so we fight a big wave battle here, and then the doors open up. By the way, let me back up a little bit. So we came in through here, and I mentioned this is an open area. So you'll actually be able to go inside these houses and find enemies and things to loot in there. But when you're in here, I don't want you leaving the wave battle. So these buildings will be magically protected. You can actually see the icon there. They'll be magically protected, so you can't go in, and I don't have to decorate them. So we fight a big wave battle, and then we come through here, and this is still extra rough. I have to figure out how I want to do it. But this will be the Grand Hall, and this will be where the big battle happens, where you fight waves of guys, and then the boss of the big uber chief of the barbarians. So that'll be the big thing going on right here. So that's the main idea. But something else I want to have is what I call, sometimes in our discussions behind the scenes, I call them side activities. So there will be 6 of them, 1 for each virtue set. So there'll be actually there's 5 of them. The default is, I'll call it plus courage. So if you don't do any of these side activities and you work your way through and you fight the boss, you'll get courage, some amount of courage at the end. So courage, truth, love, and courage are the virtues that we have in our game, and for the most part they're behind the scenes mechanic that doesn't have a lot of influence over things, but it does let you, it makes your cloak colored, it can affect some, I forgot what it is, some weapons and abilities to a small extent. If you're trying to get on the Jack of Diamonds airship, which is a special scene, you kind of need to have a certain type of negative virtue score in order to you know, pass muster and be considered like one of the unscrupulous insiders. So someone mentions are Reapers getting relocated? No, if there's a special monster here like the Reapers, I'm going to make sure that this plays for them. Potentially they won't necessarily be in the same corner of the scene, so if they're like in the, I don't know, northwest of Ulfheim currently, they might be in the southeast of Ulfheim when it gets reimagined, but they'll be in there somewhere. I'll do my best to keep the special bad guys. The counts might change, but maybe not. I think it'll feel okay. Anyway, back to side activities. So courage plus is the default. You can do courage minus, truth plus, truth minus, love plus, love minus. Example of love plus is there will be cages with, I forgot what they call them, like these wolves. I think I call them like abused, not abused, mistreated wolves. And if you free the wolf, a mistreated wolf, that's a good thing. It's compassionate. So it preps the rest of these side activities. So now you're committed to the love plus activity. If you do all 3 love plus activities, so there'll be one down here, one up here somewhere, and then one over here. So if you do all three, and then if you do all three, you will be changing the final fight. So there will be, by default, a reasonable number of wolves in the final fight, mistreated wolves. If you rescue them, then there won't be any mistreated wolves in the final fight. They'll be replaced with something else. So the fight stays roughly the same, but you're changing the experience a little bit. And also, when you win, you will get a good amount of positive love points. So I want you to feel like the choices that you make, at least in this scene early on, will absolutely matter in the final fight. I'm the guy in Lost Vale. I'm the guy who made the hard mode stuff, which was a little rough to set up, and I guess maybe every once in a while it has a little hiccup. But that was one of the things where I want you to have a choice. I want you to feel like you can have an effect on the game, with the Switch. So this is more in fiction for what you do. Like, you could save the wolves, you can poison a kettle full of food, things that'll change the final activity. So check the chat. I don't mind keeping the Reapers here. I want to have some taller trees, so, whoops. Yeah, obviously I need to have some taller trees over here, and there'll be some other trees besides these three that'll support the arboreal nature thing, and I think Reapers work out well with that concept. Let me see what else you got. Folks, do go to Ulfheim for Reapers, but I want to make sure that, so I'm not going to stick Reapers, say, in this treehouse area. This is for the, although that'd be kind of interesting. But no, it's for the barbarians. The barbarians will have some, we don't have like an NPC pet system, a pet system for NPCs, but we kind of fake it by changing the faction of some NPCs. So if you're fighting barbarians down here in the valley, every once in a while a bear may also pop up, and the bear will be flagged so that he won't attack the barbarians. And essentially, he is one of the barbarians, so they'll fight alongside each other. By the way, if you hear that barking, it's my dog Hero. Whenever I get on the live stream or on the phone, he starts paying attention, and he thinks it's the perfect time to start barking, so he'll get treats. Hopefully he'll go back, takes a nap. Yeah, okay. Maybe Snowy Reaper. That would actually be pretty cool. So, so that's the gist of it. So once again, if you didn't see the whole overview, we'll do the. So this is what it is right now. That's what it could be. It'll be something like that. And that's the old version. The old version was for the most part, it was a duplicate of another scene. Some of the middle area was changed. In the office, on the team, we call it a clone scene. So I'm uncloning the scene, but in a bigger way than I would normally do. Normally, we'd have one of the world builders do it. Right now, Travis has his time booked, or List Rostov, you might know him. He's super booked and is working on other awesome things. So it's up to me to pull out my best world building skills and get this up to snuff. And then Travis will come in afterwards, and he'll make it super sweet. And let me see what else we got. You guys have a Snowy Reaper would be cool. Why not a swamp type Reaper to Mysterious Swamp? Well, I'm not the art guy. I like both ideas, but maybe that's something we can suggest to them. So, so now we start switching to the kind of the boring part. where I start doing some decorating. By the way, let me take the terrain off and you can see some other stuff. So you can see my original plan was even more blocky. It was just a big, you can kind of see the rock, the big block shining through. Pretty exciting. So now it'll be this. And let me get rid of some of that other stuff. I need this. Yeah, I don't need this. That's not what I want to do. Okay. As I mentioned, this is not my normal layout, so everything's a little tight. Usually I work on 2 screens, but couldn't figure out how to broadcast the world building part on from the second screen. All right, so I did some basic level stuff. So when a player comes in here, I didn't want everything on the same ground level. I wanted some up and down. So there's a little up right there, a little up right there, and I did roughed out where the pathways would be. But it's just super basic. What is this? Okay, I could tile that off. It was a big square that I had for my block out. So we can also see that, we go from like, there'll be some caves over here and the tent, and then as we go up, it's the tree houses, so the houses are getting nicer. And over here we have the normal palisades, and then as we get to the nicer inner area, we get the better stuff. So it's the best stuff is hidden from prying eyes, although soon you'll be coming in and taking care of business. Are they still cannibals? They are absolutely cannibals, except they don't eat each other. But if there are other humans and humanoids out there who they feel inclined to eat, they will do it. For those people who didn't know that they were cannibals, sorry to spoil that for you, but you can take a look at their inside their camps, inside their whoops, that's not what I want to do. They have human bones all over the place. Human bones in their cauldrons, their kettles, piled up next to their where they sleep. This was something I came up with a long time ago. Before the game launched, we kind of just had bandits as the side bad guy. We also had some Ebon Dawn guys. And I came up with the idea, and I had the other world builders and level designers follow up with this idea that I wanted to have each of the 3 main paths to have their own custom bad guy, and bandits could just be sprinkled anywhere. So the Ebon Dawn guys became the main bad guy along the love path, so along the eastern side of Novia. The barbarians became the sort of bandit alternative in the northern part of Novia, from North to North Palatus, North Verdanus, a little bit South Palatus, and then around the Sea of Storms was I wanted to have pirates, but not just pirates, because you would see them, further inland than any shores. Some sort of like land pirates. So I started calling them plunderers. So that's those guys with the piratey look. To me, to us, they're plunderers. So they could be like relic hunters and tomb raiders, but they are also pirates. And if anyone's been to Hidden Vale, their bandit alternative is another type of bandit, which is the Red Sash bandits. Reading the chat. So free the food. So you're suggesting the free the food is actually free the people. People are being held as food, I guess. I don't have that as one of the side activities. The only I wanted to free the wolves side activity, and I didn't want to have to free the whoever activities. All right, so the way we edit our terrain, I know when you watch Chris mostly uses dungeon pieces, and they're all pre-made pieces. Our terrain is different. I'll do some little tricks so I can raise terrain, I can lower terrain, I can set the terrain. So if the terrain, I could sample the height, and then I could sort of do this kind of thing. So you can see it's all coming to the same flat area. Sometimes that's good to sort of do this to step the terrain as like a preliminary kind of thing, and then you can go to smooth height. Maybe I'll change it. And oops, it might be a little big. Let's do this, and you can see smoothing. Instead of the sharper angles, it smooths it out, and which will be great for like a snowy area like this. And that kind of like starts averaging the heights. You know, if it's tall in the back and low in the front, then it'll sort of average it out. And then a little trick we could do is let's make that one. Let's drop that to here. Oh, oops, a little much, but you can see I'm dropping that right there. Let's go back to the smooth a little bit. So now what we have is walking up to the house, there is a worn path in there that is a little bit of a dip. It's a little hard to see. You can see right there, I guess. It's a little bit of a dip where it's extra worn, so that makes it feel more realistic. One second. We have a chat system that we chat with each other, that we developers chat with each other, and someone asked me a question. I thought he was talking about this live stream, but he's talking about another one, so I'll have to get back to him. Let's check your chat. So, terraforming tools, yep. So, go back to set height for a second. Oh, you know what I want to do? So, when I want to look for a new piece, for example, I kind of want to put steps right here. I know we have wooden steps or stairs, and then I do the kind of annoying search we have to do. Let's see if any of this is the stuff I want. That looks good. I'll kind of put it there and just keep it around. What else we got? Put that there just for now. Alright. jet. Wish I knew how to pronounce your name. I think someone say Ichandis? Ichandis? I don't know the name. There's probably a specific way to say it, but you mentioned lights and doors and such saving their state for houses, something like that for dynamic pots might be possible. The I know our I don't know the details of it, the nitty-gritty details, but I know that our programmers would like to have some sort of, if we flip a light on, it stays on kind of situation, but for pots, but I don't know what the state of that is. When Moon mentions the terrain is shared in pot templates, which that's very true. So that it would be harder to flatten it or take out some of the bumps, as someone else says. Yeah. So what's an annoying bump for you might be something that somebody else is using. Maybe they have a sign on it or a statue or something that sort of maybe they work around the bump and now it's like a critical part of their scene possibly. So. So anyway, let's get back to this. So this house, as I make changes to this house, I'm going to give it, I'm just going to call house 1. Actually, it's a bunch of houses. Let's call it a 1. I like when everything, I like everything in order. I like an orderly setup. And this, I keep hitting the wrong thing. Come on. Okay. I'm also going to turn off the special lighting. This is usually how I do my world building. I turn off the special lighting because the special lighting might be dark or light, and I don't want to. I want to see all the details. Like this was in shadow before, and I couldn't see things, so it's kind of rough. One second. So I'm looking for things that are wood, pre-made things. What is this? That's not what I want. I want a platform now. This is not a platform, but this is something I think I want to keep. And was it the right thing? I have to double check. So this, I'm looking through a list of everything that is wood. As a level designer, this is more like the level designer thing, where I'm trying to find decorations, pre-made objects that I think will fit with the scene. I don't want to go too deep into it because I'm still working on the block out, but this part of the scene is mostly blocked out, so I'm going to do some extra business to it. Once again, a reminder, no raffle today. That's a Chris thing. I'm substituting for him, but I don't have the ability to do the raffle stuff, so this is a pure information scene stream. Paper. This paper might be good for what I want. Keep going though. I want something that looks more like boards. Bunch of signs. Still signs. Eventually we'll be using this. Put that in there. Now you know what, I'll get that later. I don't want to load this up with extra things that I'll have to reorganize later. Is that the one I want? Okay. Oh, even better. So if you missed the beginning of stream, such as Twofold Silence did, I am reimagining Ulfheim. So Ulfheim was what we call a clone of another scene, and there was a slightly different center with that single Viking house and some barbarians. So let's back up a bit. This is the reimagined Ulfheim. It's very blocky right now. It's just the block out phase. Block out phase just is to get the scope and the flow, just to get a feel for it. And everything feels right, then you continue on and finish off what you have. So some of the little things we put in right now is I'm just going to like tweak some of the terrain and do some more experiments with my terrain coloring. Right now I didn't do anything, but it's good to shape the terrain a little first before you get everything. And I'll probably also do some more mountains. I want to make sure that you can't climb over these walls because I don't want, if once you come in here to do the wave fight, I want you to feel committed to do the wave fight. You can't just sort of like jump up and out. Like it's fight or die, or win or die, one or the other. And if you die, by the way, there'll be a knock right here, and it will bring you out here. Boop. So if you die, you're out of the battle. If everyone dies, then the whole thing, the battle reset. This is typical of our wave battles. Twofold Silent asks, are you guys going to start on cloning scenes again, or is this just something you decided to do? It's something I decided to do. Is a short answer. I had in mind a long time ago for an elaborate version of Ulfheim, and I think especially now, I think the high-end players need more alternatives of what to do. It's probably true that most players will still sort of find one scene and stick with it and keep grinding through it. But I want to have some options, give you choices. I'm all about the choices. So that this will be a choice to go to, and there'll be choices along the way where it'll affect the final battle. Will there be more or less wolves in the final battle? Will there be more or less caster types? Will there be a different pet besides wolves? Things like that. Let me go back to this. This is tough to do. It's kind of the wrong piece. I keep clicking on that favorites symbol because everything's too small. I'm gonna have to do this a little bit. Usually I can see what everything is. Stairs, stairs, the house. You know what? This is gonna drive me crazy. Oh no, that's good. Okay. Yeah, that's good. All right, never mind. I thought the on the left side over here we have the hierarchy of the scene. Pretty much everything we put in the scene is an object, and on the object there might be scripts and things attached to that object. The object might just serve as a folder, and maybe there's a bunch of other child objects inside, and inside them grandchildren objects, and so on and so on. Everything that's going to be put in assigned to this house right in front of us that I have selected, putting in this house 01 folder. And the reason why I put it in that folder is I can then just kind of like move the folder around, and everything in that folder will move. So if there's decorations, stairs, that'll all be attached. So this right here, I like that it has the snow on it, which I think is this. So you can see wood 5 underscore snowy is the name of the wood. So anything that ends in snowy now is filtered in this list. Wood 5, that's now snowy. I guess everything won't be fully snowy, but maybe that's okay. You know what? Let's assume anything that people are walking on is not snowy. That'll save me a lot. Line things up. Can't see it on the inside. Kind of looks like it was made for it. And then we can put the stairs here. Although let's take this and this, get another way. Use this. I like to so sometimes I like to line things up like perfectly. So if something is architecture that someone took time crafting, that some NPC allegedly took time crafting, like this wood I put here, I like to line it up. And then these stairs I also like to line up. So let's get rid of the we can't see it right now, but I'll adjust the terrain in a second. I'm gonna kind of, oh, is this the right one? I'll come back later and I could swap it out. So this, I want to make sure that these top pieces don't stick out too much. And I think it's okay to have them down a little bit because they are then just like a step. And if you kind of can't see that they connect, then it's okay. And I'm back on the terrain. Let's go to the I do set height a lot because it gives me more control. So if I say set height, and I'm sampling right here, I'm holding down the button, then I sample the height. You can see right here the height. See how it's 91 point whatever? If you can sample here, boom, it's 91.91. Down here, 90.6. So if I sample kind of in the middle, then it flattens out a little bit. So we can bring it out. And then I might need to do a lot more trickery to it, but yeah, I'm going to do it a little bit of a different way. So set height, let's get that height up. And the other way you can do this kind of thing is like raise and lower terrain. Drop that opacity down, that's basically the strength. Tap it down here and there. Get the steps. And then go back to the smoothing tool. So maybe that's okay. Vaheron, I guess subscribe. Thanks for subscribing. And also I see there's bits coming in from same name. Can't pronounce it right, I'm sure. Eli Bone 86 also bits. Thanks. Eli says we need some more haunted scenes with death rituals and things like that. The spookier, more demented, the better. Your redesign of Ulfheim is awesome, though. Very nice. So maybe you like my House on the Hill site scene. That was my scene. I don't know if you did that. You go to Harvest, talk to the kids. They might dare you to go to the House on the Hill. So anyway, that's a little thing right there. I'll do some texture painting. So these are the terrain layer paints that I have that I use. So you can make some obvious choices, like where people don't walk, there's going to be snow. Like right underneath the stairs, there's going to be snow. Let's sort of just go like this a little bit. And then where they do walk, now this is where I have to start making decisions as to what terrain is where. So I can say that the cobblestone goes out to here, and it's a little rough. You know, they can make these, these barbarians make these nice buildings, but they're not so rigid as to where they put the cobblestone. And then this terrain, jump the terrain a little bit. And then this I'm kind of using for this last one, using for the dirt kind of quality. So pretty simple. But I also like the idea of, so snow should be careful about some of this, I guess. So you do it a little bit uneven, get some bumps here and there. Especially in corners, I try to let snow erase it a little bit. But the inside, what you do on the inside is super important. And since I'm not doing things at right angles, it might be a little odd. There's Hero. What's up, Hero? He doesn't like I'm talking for so long. He thinks there's something going on. RPE's Access House on the Hill was great. One of my top 5 dungeons. Thanks. That was sort of a one-off I did in secret, and then I just sort of said, hey, I have this thing ready kind of for Halloween. And they're like, okay, let's try it out. Clock ticking. Yeah, it was important for me to make sure that the sound was off in the scene, no music or anything, and they just have the clock ticking for ambiance, for mood. Yeah, he's here. It's awesome. Right here? Yeah, that's it. Just a second to get back. So you make my brush size smaller. Alright, this is where Heroes trained me to give him treats while I'm talking to people. Treats. He's gonna keep coming back. So I try to get as much of this flat as I can right here. It's gonna kind of suck for the bump out there, but I might be able to move things a little bit. This house doesn't have to be perfectly in this one spot. You could also end up putting some objects there. It's kind of cheap, but it's an easy way to do it. You know, just put like a bookshelf or something right where the terrain sticks out, and you'll never know the difference. Never. Going flat. Now, back to flat. What else we got? Sometimes if you have a dirt terrain, which I don't really have a dirt terrain, you could paint the bumps dirt, and it looks like there's dirt and dust on the inside of the house. If it's an abandoned house, you could sort of paint it with leaves. Oh, cats and bros giving away bits. A bunch of people giving away bits. I'm not paying a lot of attention to the chat for that kind of stuff. Sorry about that, but thank you very much for everyone who gives bits and such. Very happy to get all that. So back to my snow. Whoops. Opacity's not strong enough. Back to my snow. I should probably use a bigger brush, but just doing like little bits here and there. I like the idea of snow against walls because no one's walking there, and obviously the snow is going to pile up a little bit, so that makes a lot of sense to me. And sometimes we'll have to see how this works out, but sometimes you can smooth things, and that it'll look okay over here. And this little bump just kind of could work out okay. Well, let's see. Trying to just touch it without actually changing my settings. Let's see how far I can get with this nonsense. I'll smooth it in a minute, but first I want to... snow and sand are kind of similar. You don't want to leave any of those spikes. Sorry, Galorn. Yep, no raffle today. That's for when Chris does his solo live streams. I'm not set up for that kind of thing. So today is all information and just demonstration situation. For anyone who's showing up late, I am reimagining Ulfheim. It was what we call a clone of another scene, which is fine for the short term, but it's been a little too long, and as the ultimate home of the barbarians, it needs some custom love, and it's way past time, in my opinion. And as the home of the barbarians, it's got a valley, it's got a treehouse section. You actually have houses, and there'll be some nicer version of a grand hall in here instead of this big box. Oh, here I'm just sort of showing off some world building and how these sort of things work. Hopefully I'm not zooming around too much to make people sick. I try to pay attention to that, but I think I might get distracted sometimes and just wiggle the camera around too much. If so, I'm sorry about that. I think it's a little easier for me because I'm actually controlling the camera. I kind of know where to expect it to turn. So this is very snowy, but in my mind, it's like a melting snow. There was storms recently, maybe, but and there's a lot of snow still around. It's still cool enough, but it is melting. So actually, let me smooth out some of this a little bit more. Usually I get pretty smooth on things in the forest. I'll have it kind of flat, and then I'll just rumple it up a little bit. So this is where the cobblestone starts. Sure we got enough. And snow is over here. And smooth this a little bit more. So these weird snow spikes. Check chat. Okay, You guys are behaving very nicely. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Alright, so there's some rock under here, which holds up. I'll put actual rocks here, but for now, we'll just doing the painting the textures. Transitional texture right there. So it's not like instantly from snow to rock. And then of course we have some kind of grass over here. It must not snow like all the time if the grass is still alive underneath the snow. So it must have been a recent snow. And of course there are people who go up and down this ladder, so you got to make it look like they went to the ladder. We'll start with some of this basic level grass. This I meant to move out of the way to. Man, my dog is behaving very nicely as well. Something's up. So we have a paintbrush here I like to use sometimes. It's like kind of spotty. So instead of using like a big circle or some perfect shape, I like a spotty one. Crusher 83 says my dog wants more treats. He's not facing me though, so that's pretty good. And I gotta be careful not to say his name while he's not facing me, because otherwise he will face me. So some of the regular grass also comes in here. This is not the final version, just giving you the sample, the sort of thing that can happen. I like to keep in mind that where the NPCs walk, do they crisscross back and forth? For example, when I say crisscross back and forth, I might say that whoever lives here, this is smaller. Sometimes they go here. Oops. So let's use this one instead. Some of it got covered up, so they don't do it all the time. It's not their permanent gig, but you know, maybe they went up there to check out something. And then I go back to raise it lower, and I can drop the opacity. Let's make that 2. This. And you can kind of see it's slowly stretching a little bit, dropping a little bit. So it's a little groove right now. It's okay, we're not going to sweat it, because I'm going to come back in a second and give it another touch up. So we don't have to do a lot like this, just a little bit here and there. Kind of helps, especially when the lighting is on, lighting changes. So some bumps here and there. Kind of looks. And you go back, sort of paint the top. Yeah, we saw there was kind of a sharper edge, so maybe that indicates that people don't really walk up there. Especially now that people will walk where they see other people have walked. So that's a little gist of the sort of thing. And actually, I don't save enough, but save early, save often, no matter what program you're working in. Can't emphasize that enough. It might be your word processing program, an editor like this, doesn't matter. Save often. You'll thank me later when everything crashes in the middle and you realize, oh, thank God I saved 5 minutes ago. That's fine for now. Once again, this is still just a block out. We're not going to stress over too much. People who were here before saw me. People in Ulfheim, if you didn't know, I'm reimagining Ulfheim and uncloning it. Anyone who was here saw me like move the house around just a little bit. That's fine. This house, I can't move because it kind of like connects with the wall, and I don't want the wall to move. From the side, it's kind of part of the wall. So let's do some decorating of this area. Once again, the places where people don't walk so much will be very snowy. You're asking governors, 7 Midnights asks, can governors do this? No, this is, I'm in the normal editor. This is a normal scene, working on terrain as we normally do. So the terrain, when it doesn't have rocks in front of it, just kind of looks like this shapeless sort of stuff, big blob. And then we start putting rocks and things. And then, you know, over time it starts looking maybe normalish. But this is still early block out, so whoops. See, this is kind of nice when I raise it here because it works on both sides. Hopefully the walls are thick enough on the inside. I'm going to have to see how that works. It probably won't. But I'm going to overemphasize my drifts. My dog is well behaved. See, this is nice because there's this dead space in here that allows me to do whatever I want with the drifts at these gateways. By the way, I am using some player housing pieces. We sort of go back and forth, so you may recognize these as things that you might have in some player houses. I lose track of which is which, but because the names aren't the names that I see in my list over here aren't necessarily the names that you see. So some of the stuff I grab is stuff that players might use. And if you're excited about seeing it, then just a bonus for you. But for me, just business as usual. Let's make sure that ladder has ground to go on. So that's kind of like the smoothness that I like. The area of Ulfheim, this reimagined version, should be about the same amount of play space as the old version. Potentially it might be a little smaller, but I don't think it'll feel that way. I think it'll actually feel around the same size because of the way I'm constructing it. Because it's the staged nature of it and the segmented nature, I think it'll feel around the same, hopefully. If it ends up being exactly the same, that's great. It's a pretty good bet that's not going to be bigger at all. Why do I see the dreaded words Battle Royale on screen, says Scam4. Because, so, Battle Royale, for us, it's a term we started using behind the scenes before it kind of became popularized with Fortnite and those other games. Battle Royale for us just means wave battle. It's, you know, if you have like a wave battle, such as the ones in the Compendium Pain and Suffering, or some of our special boss fights, like the Spider Queen or the Clockwork Dragon, Blood Bay, those are wave battles. Behind the scenes, we call them battle royales. We kind of needed a name to refer to them, and that's the one we picked. And then, of course, a couple years later, it becomes like a buzzword for collapsing multiplayer PvP fight situations. But that's not what that is here. So it's a good question. Don't dwell too much on the phrasing that we're using. It's just a wave battle. And there are three wave battles in this situation. Oh, yeah, the random encounters also use wave battles now. The battles start with some lower tier, lower challenge bad guys, and then when you kill a certain random few of them, then a high level enemy will appear. No, I'm not turning it into a PvP scene. It will be more of a directed experience and not just sort of like a open area with random fights. And also, for whoever wasn't here before, there'll be side activities that you can do as you're fighting through the area that will affect the final battle. The example I gave was if you free... So in the final battle, if you don't do anything special, there will be some amount of wolves in the final battle alongside the barbarians. If you free some wolves from some cages early on, then those mistreated wolves won't be in the final battle. There'll be something else instead. So your choices will affect the final battle. Your choices are important. And what I'm doing right now is really just this is what I would have been doing if I wasn't doing the streaming, and because Chris was doing his Showing Off Tartarus stuff, you know, and he's not around, I thought, well, you know what? Let's keep with the world building theme, and I'll just sort of show off what I've been working on. So let's open this up a little bit. Oops, too much. I know there'll be a lot of snow stuff, so a lot of smooth things, but probably at some point I'll also add in some like harder edges, so it's not just super smooth. I do like it roughly flat, so that NPCs don't get caught on things, so that bigger NPCs don't have a problem if there are bigger NPCs. Or wide NPCs. Like, there's no scorpions in this scene, it wouldn't be appropriate, but, you know, scorpions are wider than they are tall, and if they're, like, on sharp angles, everything looks kind of weird, so we gotta make sure the scene works for all the bad guys. Turn on the lighting so you can get a better sense of what it'll look like. Sorry about the big orange thing. Leaving it on for now. Maybe in a little bit, maybe I'll go into play mode and we'll see what it looks like in play mode. Back up here. Let's stick in this part of the town. So these, this is a blockout situation still so far. And by blockout, I mean I'm just sort of getting the flow of things, making sure that things kind of feel right. I'm kind of doing an experiment over here. It's a little early to do the textures and this fine-tuning, but I'm considering an experiment. I want to make sure that when I get to the other areas, that I have a better sense of how I want to use how to shape the terrain and how to place some of the walls and things. I like the idea of some players getting on the wrong side of these walls, so that's okay. I just need to be careful that sometimes you won't chugging a little bit for a second. Save. I just want to make sure that you can't go from one of these wave battles just to sort of jump in and out. I want you to commit to it, and I mentioned that before, but I want to mention it again. It's important. I'm reading the chat now. 1 second. Will you be putting any notes to kind of flesh out the scene and tell what is happening there? Kind of. So one of my, so I mentioned a couple times side activities. For those who weren't here when I did, side activities will, depending upon which side activity you pick, so you'll pick a set. You'll commit to a set of a side activity. So if you free a wolf from a cage, and mistreated wolf, then you're committing to the wolf side activity for that session. There is a different one where it's related to side letters. So with philosophy and observations from a barbarian scholar, I'll call him. And so by getting those letters, you're gaining insights on their tactics, and from that the final battle is suggested. So that's a critical part of one of the side activities. Maybe at some point in the future I'll come back and also make like incidental letters here and there. But I want to be careful that I don't want you to see a letter and think it's a side activity letter, because I have side activity letters. I want to make sure that they don't crisscross. I will also have, when you do the side activity, I was about to bark at it. When you do a side activity, I actually throw up like a little message, like a system message. It's a little gamey, but a system message that'll let you know that doing the whole set of that side activity could affect such and such. You're doing great. You're doing great, buddy. I think the lawnmower was going. Maybe he was doing great because he was also a little nervous about the lawnmowers. Now that they're going away, he's like, wow, I can feel a little bit full of myself now. It's time to start barking again and get some treats. Whoop-de-doo. He wants to sit in my lap. Yeah, he's never really liked that. He's kind of big. There have been a few times in the past when I did coax him into my lap, and he's big. he's down to like about 55 pounds now. He's an older dog. He used to be around 70, 72 pounds, and kind of a lap filler. Uh, he's a good dog though. He does like barking sometimes. He used to be super quiet. You were here. You used to not say anything at all. But now he's happy to bark at like any dog or cat that walks past, to let them know that he's around, that he's got his eye on them. Shh. If he starts barking too much, I may mute myself once in a while. Smooth out all this business. Shh. Here, I'm smoothing. Let me smooth. Then I'll come back in a second, do some snow painting. The old version of Ulfheim, by the way, has what we call a tree curtain, which means that there's a wall of trees that completely blocks your exit. I'm not a big fan of the tree curtain. I'd rather have the what we do most of the time nowadays, which is just an exit volume stretching along the whole outside. So you just go like kind of go to any, you just walk in any direction towards the outer edge of the scene, and eventually you sort of hit the zone into Novia volume. So that'll be another change. It makes the scene feel more full, I guess. The tree curtain is fine in some circumstances. It actually could be okay if it's like deeper into that exit volume, where you don't actually get like right up close to it. You don't sort of hit a wall. But that's what's going to go on with the tree curtain. What are we doing now? There will be some grass and trees here. I'll do that more closer to the end. Once in a while I might pop one in just to see what it looks like, because like I said, I'm experimenting a little bit, trying to get a sense of how I want to shape and color the terrain. Sometimes the terrain will direct your eye somewhere if it's done right, if it's done well. Like for example, when you come here, I guess you're directed here just to go any direction. I could actually downplay the stuff. Let's do this. Show you what I mean. I'll show you the trickery. Oops, that's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. So what we're getting here now is the sort of a town square kind of cobblestone situation, instead of like having cobblestone leading to the houses. This is now more like something that your eye is directed. Maybe these guys, they kind of hang out with each other, so they sort of go back and forth. And then we get rocky stuff, which I'm kind of using for a bit of a dirt situation. I might need to actually switch it to natural dirt. Let's turn on the lighting. You know what? I need some bumpy bumps. Let's check the chat for a second. Instead of a dog cam, Keith has a dog mic. Yes. Well, he's got a strong bark. He can be pretty far, and you'd hear him. Apple Rust asks, are you editing inside Unity or some third-party program? This is in Unity. This is the Unity editor. Back to the dog. Liberty Lover says, water's not running, but must be a porcelain bowl. Oh, I guess you heard you're drinking from his bowl. Yeah, it's a typical bowl situation. And he's got this sort of like lick, 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 lick kind of thing. It's a little aggressive. Still a little aggressive. And I'll smooth that down in a second. This looks a little awkward, but don't sweat it. Smoothing solves a lot. I'll have to make sure that you can get through this alley, which I think it's got plenty of space right now. So that'll be fine. Should be fine. Oh, double clicked in that area, I guess. Come up pretty big. Love the idea of signing with the mistreated wolves, says Anpu Soda. Similar to the quest from, yeah, I don't know how to say that kobold's name, Natch Bulk, to get his book, and him sending help for fighting the kobolds. Yeah, that kobold quest was Damien Folletto, Puck or Pook, on the forums. That was his setup for that. Probably get a siren nearby, I imagine. Yeah, Damien was big on giving out deco objects, although we didn't always make them in ways that would well, if something was light source, he would have like multiple light sources and a lot of effects. But over time, our guys have like optimized it. So if you've seen like some glowing skull or whatever that you feel that maybe the lighting changed a little bit, it was because the lighting or effects have been corrected. But yeah, that's awesome, giving out all those things, giving out unique stuff. He was able to spend some more time on some of those early quests to give you special things. Thought those cops were for us, the 7 Midnights. Nope, not today. Here, always keep an eye out for the bad guys, so we're good. And we did some bumps. Let's get back to this. Probably needs a bump up there, but I have to double check all the snowdrifts next to houses when I'm done. A lot of them will probably be like poking into the house a little bit too much. So something else I'll have to keep in mind with this area is NPCs will be walking all over the place. So obviously I'm doing super smooth, nice, bright white snow right now, but it can't really stay like that. No, not in most of the in-between places. You know, toward a fence it's fine, but and toward a wall, any kind of barrier is fine, but in the in-between spots it can't stay like that. So that's why I have my nice transitional grass pieces that I'll be using again and again. For example, I might take this grass and my nifty little thing right here and just sort of like maybe I should use this first. Potentially people or barbarians have been walking through here doing their business. And then as a player, when you walk through, you won't think it odd that there's not footprints all over the place. And then something I'll have to keep in mind is like so snowdrifts pile up, obviously like this, and that's fine. But then what's at the drop? Does the snow pile up there, or is that where people walk? I'm kind of assume that's where people walk. Oops, let's go with this one. Also, I guess it's the lowest part has the thinnest snow cover and probably is melting faster than the higher drift spots. Over here, you can actually kind of say, well, I should do this. There's some rocky ground right here that's sort of peeking out. Kind of like the bump there, so. And then this. Once again, just sort of getting a sense of it, not necessarily the final version. And of course Travis will come in and he'll make it even better. Checking the chat. Uncle Rust asks, will new Ulfheim have the same mobs? Will you be adding any new ones or taking any away? So the mobs will adjust. Well, if there's any special NPCs, like, you know, Reapers or, I don't know, Obsidian Wolves or something, then I'll keep them in there somewhere in the open wilderness area. And I'm going to fly over to there. So, you know, there'll be plenty of space out here. There'll be over here to here, out here, but not up in the walled off areas. And in the walled off areas, there'll be barbarians of all different types. They will have bears and wolves and some other things that are their companions. So they'll fight alongside them. So some of those guys may take the place of, like, if there is like an Obsidian Wolf out in the wilderness, it might actually be in here now, inside the walls. And then what else we got? Yink is asking, can you add chests with deeds inside, please? We won't tell Chris. No. I'm not doing that. As a reminder, there's no raffle today. That's when Chris does his live stream, he does a raffle. Chris is out today. He's not available, so I'm just sort of subbing in with some different world building stuff. Chris Atos Spears, he does his when he does world building, mostly he does interiors, dungeon kit pieces. I'm doing some world building stuff, so that's you're getting a little bit of a different spin. Let's see any other questions. The Hondas has subscribed for 4 months. Thank you very much. Awesome. And as I mentioned, like, I don't pay enough attention to the chat, but thanks to everyone who subscribes or pays the bits or anything like that. That's super awesome of you, and we all appreciate it. So let me get back to what I'm doing over here. We'll get to this section now, I guess. Give it a little bit of love. Actually, you know what? I'm going to swing off this a little bit. And I'm going to do some walls, some rock walls. So when you go in the valley, I want to have caves down here. You can see I've sort of like blocked out some squares, but it should be more natural caves on both sides. And it might actually pull in a little bit. You know, there's a big wide space, and that's great, but it won't be such a perfect square area. What I'm going to do a lot more of is more of this kind of thing, with big, tall rocks that are unclimbable. I want some vertical walls going on here. and I don't want you to be able to climb up. And this is because, whoops, the wrong button. This is because I want you to fight down here and then go up the ramp and then fight here and earn your way onto the big bridge, the long bridge. I don't want you to be able to just sort of bounce your way or teleport your way up here and then skip past everything. So I'll also do show you. So what you can see now is you see these cyan walls. They're the first hints to of the things that'll block you in. So you can see in here will be completely blocked in, and there'll be something similar down here. You'll be completely blocked in. Okay, save again. Gotta save every once in a while. So Apple Rust suggests that for bridges that have portions that drop out, if it's a zone that has NPCs that will be using those bridges, perhaps they shouldn't have false bottoms. I actually am on the fence about that here. In particular, this bridge and this one and this one. You can see that the purple spots, that's the triggers that where the false bottoms can happen. So I agree with what you're saying, but as a designer, it's also like a trap. I want you to be, I mean, I want you to be alert when you're crossing a bridge. Yeah, before you got here, when there were no players in the scene, NPCs were probably walking back and forth, but they knew where to step, maybe is the thing. And then when you're here, you need to pay attention to where you're walking, because otherwise, this is just a long, boring bridge. That's one thing. So anyway, I'm still on the fence. I might change my mind about it. Reserve the right to change anything that you see here. It seems to me that NPCs would keep their bridges up so they don't fall through. It's true, but where players are using this bridge is the main way to get up here. Potentially there's some other ways that NPCs are using to get to the main area. Maybe to them this is not the way they go anymore because it's outdated. You know, there's a lot of, you know, we can rationalize it all sorts of different ways. But I mean, it's a good point. You know, I don't want to dismiss it because, you know, I'm still kind of trying to decide which way I want to go. I did grab this from another scene, and our long bridge is set up to have these breakable areas. So it's a it could be important. It could be annoying. Could be important. It could be just something to make you think. So anything you do, any new section you go to is earned. So if you fight way up here, you've earned the bridge. There's probably not a fight on the bridge, so by not falling to your death, you've earned the far side of the bridge. And then by fighting through these guys, you have earned this central area where a battle royale is. And by beating the waves of the battle, what we call battle royale, you have earned the right to enter the Grand Hall. And then in the Grand Hall, you fight the bad guys and earn the right to fight the big boss. So everything's, you know, you need to surmount some obstacle to earn the next stage. So Dorkish says, where'd it go? Well, that's one zone I probably won't be visiting, and I'd like to know why. Is it because of the bridges? Is there something else you don't like? Do you not like the look of it? Shush you. Can someone fix the... Elwin Moon says, can someone fix that SFX, sound effects, of the bridge slash floor breaking? It has no location or something, so you can hear it scene-wide in high balance skirts. I'm going to save that note, and I'm going to take a look at that at some point. Hopefully that's an easy fix. So some people like the collapse, some people don't, of the bridges. Majoria says, are we going... Shh, you're up. I'm talking. Alright, here. See? He has taught me. There you go. Are we going to get any time battleground scenario like Winter Grasp? I don't know Winter Grasp in the game. This will include quests, raid system, and capture. The Salamber thing, I think that's along the lines of the battlegrounds that Chris talks about sometimes as something that would happen in the future, but I don't know. I don't have any information on that. Continuing to scroll. So Dorkish, the bridges I like more straightforward obstacles. So yeah. So Dorkish, I'm still on the fence about whether or not I want to have the breakaway bridges. I'm sort of 50-50 on thinking about if a bridge is on like a critical path like this long one, maybe it doesn't break, or maybe there's not 3 breakaways or whatever, maybe there's less. Honda says, Hero says no collapse. That might be true. He does like to perch up high so we can see everything happening below him, so that might be true. Okay, back to business over here. Take another drink, dry. I need to find the pieces I like using. So usually what happens when we're doing stuff like this is we just find a piece we like and size it how we like. Oops. And then just place it and keep reproducing it. So for example, if I like this, maybe I want it bigger. Let's overscale it. That's maybe a little bit too much. I think it's too big, but I'm just gonna explore. Okay, let's oh. It says, Sannio, when you were asking about the bridge, is when Hero said, no, it was perfect timing if you watch back ever. Alright, maybe I'll check. I don't know how far into this we are, but maybe I'll do that. Let's make this kind of even. We have this. Oops. Oh no, I don't have that there. We have these scale people. So this, I guess, is normal human height right there. So this cave right now is huge. Just double check that it's the right height. Yeah, I guess it is. So, madam, if you wouldn't mind standing over here, I'll take this, drop it a bit. By the way, here's underneath, if you're interested. You can see a bunch of things that are still placed here, like resource nodes and trees and stuff that are part of the original. These things down here, is the cages I mentioned, and those are wolf spawners when you free the wolves. This is a you can poison the cauldron and poison the soup, I guess it is, with rancid meat. And some rancid meat in a bag. Don't know what kind of meat it is. Wink. There's a wolf totem that is very precious to them, but you can wreck it. There's the letters I was talking about before from the barbarian philosopher. So they stand out a little bit. And this is I'm probably gonna jazz this up a little bit. This is just like a important relic of theirs in their urn. So these are the virtue activities down here, and their sets. If I say wreck this, I've committed to this set, and now I don't have access to this anymore. I have, if I want to do this alternate side task, then I have to do boom, 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 all three in the three areas where they'll be. Or if I'm freeing the wolves, I need to free all three wolves in order to get that side activity done. I don't like that placement. I don't like it. Can't make me keep it if I don't like it. Let's see what else we got in chat. Just 1 second, I'll be right back. I'm back. Lawnmower guys were going, so I had to block off that noise. So over here, what do we got? Now let me look at the chat over here. Vegas BLT says, I like Ulfheim now for killing animals. Whoops, chat scrolled. Maybe pulling your group and farming animals or taming. This keeps rolling. Uh, uh, I don't understand the sentence. If it becomes about combat with humanoids, it will change why we love it. So it'll change because we need more experiences. We need more high-end combat. There'll still be like an open wilderness area, and you'll still have like the same amount of resources and the same special creatures like reapers or whatever, special wolves. This will be a place where you can you fight through an extra tough wave battle, several wave battle experiences. You'll be able to make decisions early on that'll affect the outcome, that'll affect the composition of the final battle, and you'll also potentially indirectly affect your virtue scores for those players who want to sort of push it to positive or minus. This will be a situation where you can do that. Still reading the chat. You guys are talking about the body parts and stuff. There'll be bones and things around, of course. So Vegas BLT, you say, I'm really sad that they're taking my favorite craft place. I don't know how I'm taking it. I'm gonna as best I can keep the same resources, maybe exactly the same, a resource count. They'll probably be arranged differently because the scene, the new scene layout will require it. But I don't want to take away anything that is already there that players like. So if there's a certain amount of, I don't know what the ore is, iron ore or whatever it is, then the same amount should still be there. Radicus says the plans to finish Celestis, which still has the under construction warnings. Yeah, it kind of shouldn't. I think that was an accident that we left that in. It might have been left in because maybe there was some generic NPCs still in there, but I don't know. I'll have to check into that. Vegas BLT says I don't always want to fight humanoids. That's fine. There will be plenty of like, you know, creature and monster areas outside the wall around here. It should roughly be. You should have a lot of the same uh, area to fight those types of bad guys. If you'd like to fight in the Reapers will still be in here. They'll be outside the wall. They won't be inside the barbarian home. I know when Moon points out Twins or Serpent Spine Foothills also have good resources. There's plenty of scenes with good resources. I don't want to just rip out all the resources from here. That's not my goal. Tavernac Stronghold, yep. Eric Rules says, put the Reapers in the wall and watch the chaos. Well, if I put them in the wall, if I did that, I don't want to, but if I put them in the wall, I'd probably make them the same faction as the Barbarians. Like maybe they'd buddy-buddy with the Barbarians for some reason. An uneasy pact or something weird. But I don't want them in the wall. I want them out the wall. Reapers are the best monsters in the game, says Gleppo1. They are pretty awesome to... aside from the whole fighting thing, they are awesome to look at. Like, I love just seeing a tree just sort of like separate and they come to fight you. Pretty awesome. Anyway, back to this. I got my wooden platform right there. I got this tree, this sticking out. Make that one. Do I like this piece is a question. I think I do. So then I'm just going to keep building off that piece. See the back. Mix it up with something else, I think. Not that one. I like being extra careful about making sure the wrong things don't clip into each other. Checking the chat again. It look like from down here. I think these need to come out a little bit more. Trying to look ahead for my eventual caves I'm going to have in here. Shallow caves, nothing big, but man-bear orcs is what Yondis wants to see. Sounds good. Awesome. Mystic Soda says, would be cool to add an avalanche element to certain maps with snow and mountains. We don't actually have a lot of snow mountains, but we do have like rock slide things. I wonder if we could adapt that at some point to a snowy area. This side looks a little better, I guess, but still, once again, blockouts. Not really sweating the super big details. I will do this. That could be right. It's a little tough right here because I am trying to make it feel like a wall that you couldn't climb, but somehow still feel natural as a wall. It's tough. It's definitely something I think, well, I'll need Travis to help me out with this. Have to make some adjustments here and there. These trees are confusing me. Oh, this is harvestable tree. That's why it was there. Dude is in the way. Boink. What are we doing? Let's go back to paint texture. Let's open this up a little bit. Muggly Wumple has given me 100 puppies, Frank QZ, bits. Thank you very much. And for anyone showing up, missed the early parts, my name is Keith Quinn. I'm a designer trying the avatar. I am reimagining our Ulfheim scene, which is currently a clone, what we call a clone, which means it was based on another scene. It did not have its own design. It had some small adjustments to it to make it a little bit more unique, but I am making it fully unique. I'll show you guys the trick again. So this is the version that I'm working on. Take that away. And that's what the old version was. Based on a super early scene that started in Hidden Vale. Has the barbarians in the middle here, with just this one hall representing the city of Ulfheim. I had always imagined that it would be a much larger experience, and so now this is what I'm working on. If you don't know where Ulfheim is, it's a high-level scene, high tier. It's near Northwood, northeast of Northwood, in the North Palace area. If you don't know where that is, if you know where Brittany is, you can come out of Brittany, kind of go straight north until you hit like these sort of mountains, and then you sort of follow the mountains a little bit left, and you might get to Ulfheim. It'll be multiple waves. There'll be a wave down here in the valley, wave battle, open fighting, barbarians and such over here in the tree houses. You make your way across to the city. City has the village. Village has two parts: open area on the right side, and then the left sort of circular area will be wave battle. Then in the back will be a grand hall with the finale wave battle with the ultimate chief of the barbarians and his companions. If I'll try to keep the resources that we have, they'll be shifted around a little bit. Resources as in harvestable trees and ore and such. I'll try to keep exotic monster types in here, so if you like fighting the Reapers, they won't be going away. If there's special wolves or bears, they'll be in here somewhere. The Reapers will be outside the wall. Bears and wolves potentially could be inside the wall, allied with the barbarians. So right now I'm just sort of, what I did before was I did some, put the light back on again, some adjustments to the terrain up here, just get a sense of how I want to show off the snow and how to rumble the terrain. Am I using the right textures? Maybe it's okay so far. So what I'm doing down here is I need to make the wall, this valley wall, feel pretty vertical. I don't want you to feel like you can go up the wall. I don't want you to skip past content. Content being certain wave battles in order to get up there. So that's what I'm working on right now. It's still kind of a blackout phase, maybe more elaborate blackout phase, but Ulfheim 72 asks how much bigger is the map overall. The terrain itself is the same size. In fact, I'll show you. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong button. We get a straight overhead. So this is overhead and everything's kind of flat now. Go back up here. So you can kind of see the big square, which is the terrain. This orange box right here is the final battle area. Just below it is the village, and the valley to the right of that, and the trees over the treehouse and the ramp. So I have there's probably not going to be anything in the northwest corner. Definitely the whole southwest, southeast area will be all just open combat stuff, and it'll probably like go up the side some amount. So if you hold on 1 second, let's go back to the clone. So this is the clone, and you can kind of see the tree wall right here. This sort of duller green in the middle of the yellow green. So this is the old area. So there was some dead space over here and over here. It'll kind of be roughly the same amount of combat space, I think, when I'm done, give or take. I think the new version may feel like it's bigger because of the way you're directed, but you know, I guess it'll your mileage may vary. You know, different players will have different sense of like how big or small it is, but roughly it'll be about the same. Ravesley asked, thought you wanted to get away from cloning areas. Yes, I am uncloning an area that was cloned, so this is getting away from a clone. When we say clone, for those who don't know what that means it was a scene that was originally straight up copied from another scene to sort of make sure our whole world was there. We had all the bits in place, and then we did some modifications to it. You know, we put the barbarians in their house in the middle, but there was always plans to make a more elaborate combat space for Ulfheim. Red Hammers 04 asks, do you have plans to continue the Norwich quest for episode 2? I do have plans for that quest. That is kind of like a pre-episode 2 yet connected to episode 2 kind of quest. So yeah, if you go talk to, what was her name, Sigrun, her concerns are episode 2 related concerns. Spoiler, don't tell anyone. Honda says, I just channeled Winfield and he's asking about ice fishing. There's no ice fishing in this scene. There's no body of water in the original version, so I didn't plan on making any water in this one. Let's get back to my wall. Got these things. So sometimes things look a little blocky, and I'll be like, I don't know how the look of it. And then sometimes you could just like add in like a bunch of like random pieces, and then like out of nowhere, sometimes things start to look like they're coming together. You're like, oh, I see what I was going for in my own scene. We're not there yet, but soon maybe. was a pond area by the Cobalt Mage, wasn't there? This is Ulfheim. This is not High Vale. Is it? Are you thinking of High Vale outskirts? This is a different scene. Looks like the area might be good for mining, says Redhammer 04. It'll it's definitely good for me to place ore nodes, but it should have around the same amount of ore that it had before. Potentially it might have more. Yeah, I'll have to see how dense the ore feels, but it'll have at least as much as it had before. Master Yonda asks, what's the difference between LOD 0 and LOD 1? I guess you're looking up here. LOD 0 is the base visual. So when you're the closest, see the camera? Let me open this up. So the mesh, I'm pointing to it, you can't see me pointing, but the mesh collider for LOD 0, the default LOD, is the most detailed version of that mesh. Now in this prefab object, we have LOD 1. So programmers, let me back up. Programmers start their numbering at 0. They don't do 1, 2, 3, 4. It's always a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0 is always the first number. So that's why LOD 0 is the primary visual. So LOD 0 is what we see here. And if you watch when we back away, you can see the camera moving. It's letting me know how far away the camera is. And if you watch somewhere around here, it flips its LODs. You see how it changes? Boop. If you watch this, you can see it go from high detail to low detail. So that's what's going. And then we get back even further. Let's see if I can do it. So you will never see it disappear. Bink, it just went away. Did you catch that? Look at me like backing up like this, like I'm actually flying around in the scene. So there you go. Sometimes we have objects that maybe more complicated shape that have multiple LODs, so depending upon how close you are, it's the detail level we give you. If you don't need to see that detail because it's far away, then we drop down the detail, and that helps performance. Jorka likes to find ore in unusual places, I guess. I like to climb mountains and explore. Yep. Liz Kimber subscribed. Thank you very much. Raven's Lair 38 says, I can't tell you how many times I have either fallen to my death or gotten stuck trying to climb the unclimbable mountains. Yeah, I like going places I'm not supposed to go in games. I don't know if you ever played Rift. Rift was actually great for the explorer. Like, you'd climb like this impossibly high area. You're like, there's no reason for me to be up here at all. I'm super wasting my time, probably for like half an hour. And then you get to like the top, and there'd be something there to do. It was like crazy. And not just like, oh, I can mine something. It was like a little puzzle or something that you'd find up there. Like, it was phenomenal for an explorer. Anyway. Yes, I like playing other games as well. What am I doing here? Alright, do my rock wall. I'm going to kind of think this rock wall is looking okay so far. So I got to be careful about these rocks on the ground. I did put these rocks, but now, of course, I'm keeping in mind that they're dangerous sometimes, because the more clutter on the ground, the more of a pain it is for the NPCs to get around. I like a simple nav mesh, which the NPCs walk around. They don't walk around like players anywhere they want to go. They walk around on a path grid that is pre-created for them, and they usually it's sort of like a billion triangles, sort of all big weave of triangles, and they can go from point to point to point. And there's a little play in there, but for the most part, they go from point to point to point to point. And if I left like these weird spikes in here, they couldn't get around these points. And with this, they might have trouble actually getting up and down on it. So, you know, sometimes you shrink it. Sometimes you change the collision. Like right now, this collision doesn't seem so bad, but maybe I don't like the collision right here. Maybe I'm going to cheat and go, you know what, let's just kind of do that. Maybe that's not so bad like that. And I'm going to make sure there's empty space there, so it's not tight like that. It's like that. So players won't get stuck, NPCs won't get stuck. Beautiful. Sometimes in the far off areas, in the chat you're talking about things to find. We do put like sometimes it's Easter eggs in some places. Maybe it's just like on this sort of weird mountaintop. Maybe we just put like a chair and a mug next to it. And you're like, does someone come up here sometimes and just like look out on the horizon? Like what is going on here? There's a story here and I don't know what it is. It's kind of fascinating. So sometimes you want to make you like think like what happened here. Sometimes we'll do stuff like maybe there'll be like a movement related puzzle. So maybe there's a way to sort of jump from like a point to point to point to point, or maybe there's a kind of a tightrope situation, and if you can sort of make it to the other side, maybe there's a discovery there. Like our discoveries don't necessarily mean much right now, but it's nice to sort of unlock these things, or you know potentially that maybe there's a hatch there, and you get in the hatch, and then you can go into a secret place, which is always kind of fun. Oops. Back to terrain. Smooth that nonsense. It's bugging me. We'll come back and make the caves a little bit more elaborate. Not too crazy, but so just like the other side, I want to make it feel like a wall. I think my dog's about to bark. It's coming up behind me, kind of breathing heavy. These pre-bark noises. Okay, Hemstrike says I found a dead guy who had something against Shandy Chapman. Yeah, some NPCs don't like Shandy Chapman. Every once in a while, you'll run into somebody who's got a beef with him. It's funny for me because I have like a small it's not like a storyline, but there's a few bits and pieces I've sort of like seeded here and there about Shandy Chapman, and then I just sort of forgot about it. And then Shandy Chapman was like removed. His random account like went away for a while, and then he came back, and then people were excited about it. He came back like I don't know why. Like I think it's funny that they are excited about him because I know that there's like little bits and pieces like like that dead guy here and there. But I think a lot of people were excited about him coming back they don't even know about that stuff. The 3 or 4 spots that elsewhere that talk about Shandy. So you feel like he might be a bit of a shady character. He's got something about him that rubs some other NPCs the wrong way. I kind of know what it is. I'm not going to say what it is. If I ever have NPCs talk more about it, maybe some of that stuff will come out a little bit more. But so Liz Kimber says, I always get frustrated when there's a bit you should be able to climb, but it's out of boundary, so it won't let you for no obvious reason other than it doesn't. Well, the scene has to stop at some point, so you can at least feel confident that if you're not allowed to go there, there's nothing that is there for you to go to. You know, we don't put something, an Easter egg, inside an exit volume or on the wrong side of a wall that you can't cross. You know, we don't do that. There shouldn't be any NPCs there or treasure or anything. Like I don't want any NPC or treasure or reward in a place that you can't get to. So, if, like for example, I'm not even going to put a tower somewhere with an NPC up there. Let's say like no ladder. Maybe the NPC is fine shooting at you from the tower, but if you kill him, you can't loot him. That's broken to me. So there needs to be like the ladder there or the way on that. So if you can get to it, there might be a reward. There won't be any reward if you can't get to it. Okay, let me get back to some of this business. I don't really know how this shape is going to end up. I guess I have some pieces already that look okay. Sorry about going back and forth and back and forth. Kind of helps me plan out what I'm going to do here. There's some nice rock pieces. Now that was kind of a random thing to say, but I've worked on a bunch of games and they don't all have rock pieces that sort of like just overlap like this. Like it looks pretty seamless. It's pretty nice. Actually, what's also nice is I think this has a yeah, so that you see that side how it's all snowy, and if I let it come back up in a second, I just hit save. That's why it's pausing. Oh, save again. So now I turn it up. Look at the back. See the snow is gone. It's a special technique to make sure that the snow is always on top. It's pretty good. I guess it's not that tough for art guys to set up, but I think it's pretty cool. Sometimes the little things are the most satisfying. Deciding I kind of don't like this one. Let me just go back to the chat for a second. Darkham Strike says there's something I stumbled upon here past couple of days. Not going to go into detail about for my own safety. Good. But I'll just say I'm currently intrigued. And when Moon says I've been on the other side of the wall a few times, when there's been a hole in it, there's nothing interesting back there except the edge of the scene and maybe sometimes little cues that I think are alignment for the tree curtains or something. Yes, the tree curtains have little cubes to help when you're behind it to just make sure they're fully lined up. In fact, I will. So what you see when you go on the other side of the tree curtain is stuff like this. You see the edge of the map. You'll see these mountains, which don't look so awesome up close. You'll see some holes when you go past it. Eventually, you're outside the sky dome. Shoop. Inside the sky dome. Back through the mountains. So that's what you see when you're outside. It's usually nothing too special. Those planets are actual objects, Arkham Strike asks? Yes, they are. Yes, sir. Probably way more detail than needs to be, but pretty cool looking. Save again while I check the chat a little bit more. Scroll up along. Noah Moon says, I haven't seen that far out before, just needs a few turtles under it. That'd be kind of funny. It's crazy there are even different distances. Yep, different distances and rotation. You know, so it's not just some sort of weird, so like flat plane math makes it at the right place thing. It's, you know, things actually rotate around the scene, the sky dome. So you ask, so the world is spherical. If you are in the, our assumption is that it's a sphere, I believe. So if you're in Isle of Storms and you're looking down at the world, which shows like Novia, it's a sphere. So I believe the official statement is that it's a sphere. Hopefully I'm not contradicting somebody. I remember playing Ultima Online and being super excited when somebody pointed out that the Ultima Online version of the world was a torus, you know, donut. Because if you moved off the world left or right, it looped around. But if you went up, you came up from the bottom. You didn't sort of come, you know, up over here and then up over here which would happen if it's a sphere. So it kind of meant it was a torus. So that was super exciting. I mean, the canon was that it was a globe, I guess, but a sphere. But the game mechanics said it was a torus. Thrilled me. Yes, I did play a lot of Ultima Online. For those who did not yet ask, but we're about to. And if you didn't know, for a few years I was a community guy on Ultima Online. Yeah, I don't want that in there. There's my big... There you go. Whoops. I was actually, let's see, Red Hammer's 04 says, played Great Lakes for 15 years. Played in Great Lakes a little bit as a player. Mostly I played on Baja. I started on Atlantic, went to Baja. I was actually in at the end of the beta as well, just so I can get to Mystery City, the first player town. And then, so like I said, started in Atlantic, and then when they opened up other servers, me and my friends switched to Baja. There was a certain point when I was a counselor for just like a month or so, and or 3 months, something like that, something short. And that was on Napa Valley. And then I got picked to be a seer, and I was a seer for about a year. And I was a seer on Chesapeake. And I ran into Winfield, I guess, a few times, but never met him in person until I got hired on the Trial of the Avatar team, which is kind of funny. And anyway, after, so I was a seer for about a year, and then they stopped the seer program, and then within the month I got hired by the community team on Ultima Online, and I moved to Texas and so forth. Catskills, I played on Catskills a few times, love the orcs there. One of my friends was thinking about, she was thinking, one of my friends who played Ultima Online, she was in my guild, and she was thinking of quitting, and she was like, I don't think I've really seen everything. I think I've seen everything I need to see, played everything. And I said, well, before you go, I think there's this group that you'd like on Catskills. These guys who play orcs. They're kind of funny. I like their situation. I like how they set things up. She's like, I'll go check it out. And then, she stuck with the orcs for the next 3 years, and she became the big maker, and it was pretty funny. Anyway, those are the high points of my UO career. I also helped implement the event moderator program, for those who know what that is. That's the flattest part. I guess that's the flattest part. Whoops. Whoops, I did it again. This is another resource tree. Gotta get it out of the way. Get that out of there. Saving again. Scrolling back up, see if I missed anything critical. Okay, M-Strike is asking how difficult would it be for you guys to have an account with limited dev ability, like just the ability to spawn things or something, make NPCs bark on command and stuff. I have no idea. I think you're asking because we had seers on Ultima Online that were volunteer players who had certain spawning abilities, limited. There were a couple of different stages of tiers. So, you know, basic seers really just helped out as extras in scenes, and the higher level seers were able to spawn things. I'd much rather see us come up with a design that allowed players to just do that, as opposed to like have a separate volunteer custom account system. Something we'd have to police, but that make it normal gameplay than to, like, you know, there are vendors in the game, you know, player vendors and pets on your house. Maybe at some future point, this is not something we've talked about, or I haven't talked about anyone about it, but it'd be nice to have some kind of character that you can put words in. Like, and you know, I forget what we had. There were the merchants that you could have in your house, and then there were, God, I forget what they called them, but they were kind of like, just like for like quest purposes, I guess, or introduce your guild. You were allowed to give them 3 things to say, and that was pretty awesome. So you had like a guy like on your front door who would probably tell you a little bit about the house, and you know, he might say you have like room libraries upstairs, merchants on the ground floor. Go to www without whatever to read more about the guild. So neat stuff. Try the avatar, you know, has like books and letters. You could do all that. You could do some things with some NPCs. Here's giving me the big eyes again. What's up, buddy? I might have to get off in a little while to see if he's got to go for a walk or something. Let's give him some more treats. There you go, bud. Here's another one. Alright. Let's say when I do a little bit more on this wall, and then call it a day. Or as far as broadcast, anyway. Get it all? Arkham Strike says, have you all thought about, like, you all having the player dungeons having a way for players to make custom outdoor scenes? I feel that the player dungeons could do that. I think what we should do more of is have, or try to find a way to have a player dungeon that feels like it's outside. It would still have to be compartmentalized, you know, room after room, you know, room. But that doesn't necessarily mean the room has to be like a box sealed in. Maybe, you know, feels like it's open. We have a couple of scenes, dungeon rooms already that have like the crack in the ceiling light coming through. But it'd be nice if we had like the sky dome in there, maybe, and we'd have to have height checks, I guess, because you wouldn't want to have like a room with open to the sky dome that was below another room that you'd have to look up into. But, you know, I feel, you know, as we incrementally keep improving the dungeon system, I feel the dungeon system could probably handle what you have, unless there ends up being like a different type of foyer that maybe doesn't allow you to do up and down dungeon stuff. Maybe it's just all sort of flat vertical, basically valleys, I guess. I don't know. Programmers probably have, and Travis, the world builder, probably have thoughts on this sort of stuff already. Probably more elaborate, more sensible than I just spit out off the top of my head. Yeah, dungeons are pretty awesome. Player dungeons. So a lot that they can do, I think. Is there a reason for hold up with getting a raid system? I don't know, whatever reason. You know, it's just we have a schedule. There's a ton of things on the schedule, and we just have to do certain things first. I guess is the only thing. I don't know what the priority of that is, where it is on the schedule. It's a programmer thing. I'm a quest guy and level design guy, so it's not really my gig. What measures do you take? Master Yonder asks, what measures do you take to prevent people from... Oh, by the way, once again, thanks for the people who, like I see Scooby-Doo give some bits. Thanks for everyone who gives bits and all that. Appreciate it. Doesn't always catch my eye. And, you know, I got the world building in front of me and the chat to the side, and then the streaming thing over there, and my own the developer chat thing. Everything is... I need more monitors. I have 2 monitors. I need 6. What measures did you take to prevent people from climbing the mountain? How are you going to shift its collision? I will have special colliders like I'm about to show you. I mentioned it before, but I'll have these colliders like this. These cyan things, those are just big blockers to keep you from like jumping over the wall. And they go up crazy high, so you couldn't do any spell to get up and over. So I'll have something similar here. I like the idea of you being able to sort of like, from the treehouse side, climb up and over and bounce down. That'll be fine. But there won't be any way for you to get purchase over here. So you wouldn't be able to sort of like climb up by jump, or teleport or whatever. That's my goal. We'll see how well that works out. I turn them off while I'm working because they're distracting. Are you making a normal player version of your Lord of the Island house with a castle keep size? Doesn't matter. That'll be up to Travis, the world builder, aka Lis Rostov. He will be the one. He'll be the one who makes houses. As for the decision, I guess it'll be Chris and Star. It's not something I'm working on. Red Hammers 04 asks how many more areas do you have to change out from clones. There are a lot of clones, but so what I've been doing over time is we don't have time to, you know, I mentioned our list. You know, we have a big to-do list, you know, with all the different priorities. So the cloning is not like high up on there because it works, so it's fine. But every once in a while, I get a new thing, like say when Krampus came in. I needed a place to put him, so I found a scene that was a clone scene, and I reworked a certain area to give it its own special pizzazz, so it became a partial uncloning situation. Yeah, dog might need to go out. He might just want my attention. He just knows that I'm talking a lot, and he feels I should be talking to him, or maybe just letting him outside. Do you want to go out? No. Good brushwork says, I'm a carpenter at heart. Do you have any plans for a really awesome deep forest themed town, non-Elvish? Right now, we're not making any new towns in Novia or in Vale. You know, all the towns we have will just stay as they are. I guess if there's like a foresty area that needs to be uncloned or adjusted for whatever reason, potentially there could be a town there, but it wouldn't be a safe town. It would be in the wilderness. I don't know if I answered how many more areas do you have to change out from clones. I kind of gave an answer, but I don't know the exact number. Of the number of scenes that were cloned originally, there was a lot of them, and now there is like only a few that are officially full-on clones. So I don't have a great answer for that. I'd have to look it up, but Ian says, I like the ship, but not enough to spend lots of money. Oh, the new huge ship? It's huge! Huge! Doug quieted down for some reason. He was just lying in wait. He's going to get me when I'm not paying attention. I like the idea of some natural caves on both sides. So down here in this valley, to me, it's like a hunter's preparation area. So before they go out, before any hunting parties go out, they hang out here and they collect their stuff, and then they go do whatever business they have to do. You know, they get their fill their packs with, I guess, food if they're out going out for a couple of days. They get a full assortment of arrows, all that kind of stuff. Maybe one last big drinking party before they go out. Family says, thank you for doing this. I can't wait to explore the new map. You're welcome. Very happy to do it. And it's especially easy because I would be doing it anyway. It's the best kind of work, or the best kind of extra work. You're doing it anyway. Plus, I like explaining stuff. I like sharing things. When it's my thing to share, I'm happy to share it. If it's not my thing, you know, I'll just mention that it's Chris's thing, or Star's thing, or Travis's thing. Alright, we had some more pieces. Put some extra rocks over here that I can grab. Whoops. This is I like the Unity engine for world building. I know some you know, every programmer will always have like opinions on whatever engine they're working on, and yeah, ultimately they'll all complain about whatever engine they're working on. But as a designer, I actually kind of like this. I know it's got some issues that some of the other guys, technical issues that some of the other guys may not like, but it's easy for me to move around, get the pieces I need, and change what I want to change. Where's this one I was looking for? That's what I wanted. Put that over here because I don't want that over here later, I think. Maybe this is it. Checking the chat. Good Brushwork says, I think it's so cool, but yeah, I think it's so cool that we can see the game come to life. I don't know of any other studio that does something like this. It's always hidden away. Sometimes it's hidden away because, I mean, the secrets, they don't want to give up something away. And sometimes they might be nervous because the bigger the crowd is looking, the more, you know, I think I'm mixing my metaphors, but the more backseat quarterbacks you'll get, everyone's sort of got an opinion on what to change, and when they see how you're working on it, they won't like it. But I think this is, as I've said a few times, this is a block out. I'm not trying to remove anything that people liked in the past from the scene. It should roughly, in the wilderness area, you should really sort of have the same experience, probably just in a tighter space. And then for those players who want like the extra challenge, and if I get it done in time, a multiplayer feeling challenge, then this will be there for me. You know what else I want to show you? I've been aching to show somebody. Another thing I want to get done someday. We're going to switch scenes for a moment. You'll see a secret. This is why you waited this long, to see the big secret. Hope you're all sitting down. No spoilers. No, it's not spoiling. It's something I started working. Oh, that's the wrong thing. So, do you know what the clink is? Is my question to you, just in general. And if you don't know, the clink is a prison that you can get to in Hidden Vale, in Owl's Head. And it's a scene that I've just always kind of liked. So you can see there's two clinks right here. What's going on? So I've made like little adjustments to the clink over time, and some quest adjustments over time. The original purpose of the clink was for you to come in here and work your way through. Oh, that's the wrong spot. Let's go over here. You come in here and you work your way through either this way, for some reason you come in at the top, or if you go around this way, then you talk to some guards, and the guards are kind of okay with you walking around. So it seems kind of weird. And eventually you work your way through and you come to my revised jail cells, which are all controlled by these switches. I think I did that like a year ago or something. Oh, what's the yellow lines? The yellow lines are walking paths. So an NPC will walk from this point to this point to this point, you know, to this point. He'll go on patrol. Anyway, so the only real quest that was in here was for you to come over here and talk to Myron. Myron's down here in that pit. The quest has been changed months ago, maybe it was like 8 months ago, where instead of getting like a master key for some reason from Myron's sister, you now get a key that she says she got it from a kid, and the kid is kind of by a river, and you can get a replacement key if you lose your original key. And the kid talks about how you come out by the kitchen. So temporarily, this is the kitchen. So here's all the new stuff. So that's the actual scene, and this is my work in progress that has been slow building over time. All right, you ready? This is the stuff. This is the secret stuff that no one else has seen. That's not secret in that like no one should see it. It's secret in that it hasn't been shown off before. So here you go, first time seeing it. So you would come in here, it'd be a guard right there. So this also, the Clink had two scenarios, two versions. There was the always in a riot scenario, and then there was the not in a riot scenario. There were kind of some problems. There wasn't a way to sort of define which one you're going into was random. So they switched it so there was only the riot version. So I like the idea of like sometimes it's in a riot, sometimes it's not. So I decided in this remake, which isn't live, what would happen is, depending upon how you entered the scene, so if you enter the scene from the front door, it could be a riot, or if you entered it from a sewer, it would not be a riot. So if you could talk to guards, and we'll get back to the guards in a second. But there'd be a guard right here, guard on patrol. You know, we just talked about these yellow lines. You can't see it, but that's a justice banner right there. And then over here, it's the guard post. And now you can see that there's a door over there, doorway, an actual door over here, and door over here. And over here is the buckets in the water. This is where you get the prisoners get who first show up here. This is where they get deloused and cleaned up. If you were to go to the right, then eventually you get to the warden's office, which is mostly the same but a little different. If you go to the left, you can open up either one of these doors, and all these doors now are kind of airlock, or they will be airlock style. So if this door is open, you can't open this door. It's a security measure that they have in place, that they will have in place. And then I got these couple of rooms that have guards patrolling around the top, watching the prisoners down below. So that was one of them. And there's also one over here. And this is the dining area. And of course, the bathroom area. Gross. Shh. Shush. And then back over here is the kitchen, or dining area. And this right here is like a sewage. And so the fiction, eventually, as things catch up to each other, will be the that kid who you got the key from. He actually works here. It's his job to go take the sewage out and clean out the sewage pipe, the kitchen refuse pipe. Let me distract my dog once again before I go on. There we go. My dog barks. So you come in the kitchen and you can go through, and I tried to make it so that there's like 2 ways around each place. So if you come out the kitchen, you can go through the ground floor, or you can take a ladder up and go out. Oh, there it is. Go out this door. So kind of two ways through each room. So if there's a riot going on, my ultimate goal, this might be revealing too much and committing myself to something I might not get to for like, who knows, a year? I don't know. If it's the riot scene, I like to have like high tier guys here. So if you know, maybe middle tier guys here, higher tier guys here, very high tier guys back here. And if it's a not riot scene, then the guards maybe stop you to try to walk past, and then you sort of have to have this conversation in order to get out of trouble with the guards. Anyway, there you go. That's my vision for the Clink, the ultimate vision. There you go, Hero. Let's go back to back to Ulfheim. There you go. There was a little sidebar for you. Does he really want attention? Yeah, he does. Wait, hold on. Clicked off something. There you go. Maybe he just wants to be on camera. Alright, we're going back to Ulfheim. I'll just finish off a little bit of that wall that I was working on. And then I'll take care of the pup. Where am I? I'm getting there. Relax. Famine says, nice looking puppy you have. Thank you very much. He's a nice looking pup. He's 12 and a half. Can't tell though. He's got no, he doesn't really have any white. He's got a little white in his muzzle, but not much. He was a coward as a youth, and then an eager dude in the Middle Ages, and now he's getting to be a grumpy old man. Oh, you missed him because you were coding? Okay, hold on. I'm still here, so. There we go. That was his encore performance. Alright, let's just do some quick painting. He doesn't like when I do quick paintings. Oops. I guess I didn't put the camera on right. Professional live streamer. What kind of dog is he? Hero is part Australian Shepherd and a mix of a bunch of things. He's a big mix, is really what it is. Try to make sure that there's not going to be any stuck spots. Most of this will change, but some of it won't, so gotta be careful. Oops. Yeah, I need something over here. Two furry helpers. Nice. That's gonna look right. One thing I want to do eventually, even putting this little shelf up, just kind of dangerous because I kind of don't want players going up. But one thing I'll need to do is add a way for NPCs to go up, which means like rocks or not rocks, probably vines that they can go up, because there'll be players going up there and they'll be shooting down and NPCs can't shoot back, or so they think. I'll make a way that the NPCs can get up there and kill you, because you think you're hot stuff, but you're not. Get some right. Alright, getting close to the end of today's live streaming, I think. These caves are huge. They need to be smaller. I always like to go down here to... Let's put the light on. So that's a person. So that cave is a big indentation. I actually probably drop these a lot. Alright, I'm gonna restate what I mentioned before, that my name is Keith Quinn. I go by Sannio on the forums. I'm a quest and level designer on Shroud of the Avatar, and remaking or reimagining one of our scenes, Ulfheim, to be more conducive, to not be a duplicate of another scene, and also to have its own special combat situation. Does that look right? And I've been reworking the scene live, answering questions. You can see I reuse a bunch of pieces, but every once in a while I'll resize them so that way they're not identical. Break up the pattern a little bit maybe. A few extra pieces. I'm kind of using the same two pieces down here. There's other ones I can use, and I might do that on my own after we're done here. Break things up so it's not the same thing yet the same thing. They need a pet troll. I don't know that that would make sense for these guys. I think if they were elves, that could make sense because they were created to be partners. I don't think barbarians would go that way. We like mixing it up so it's not the same guys again and again. So that's why we like mixing in the animals with them. So they have bear companions and wolf companions. tell you something I really wish we had. I wish we had regular flying enemies, like eagle, falcon kind of thing. We have some pets that are like that, but we don't have any combat versions. That'd be kind of cool. I gotta watch out for this corner over here and potentially a stuck combat spot. Like I was gonna do this for a second, and I was like, oh, I'm not making that hole. It's terrible. Oops. Whoops. That could be alright. Kicking the light again. I like that pattern from there. Alright, so you should be able to go into here. I'll have to make sure that these aren't too deep. Plug that. Like I'm going in kind of deep, but not too deep. And actually, it'll be good if they don't have any blind corners. Not the piece I need, I think. I just want like a block, I guess. That could work. Of course, at some point I'll have to come back up here and I'll have to plug these holes in. I'll have to do that right now, though. So it seems kind of open, but there'll be things in the valley. There'll be we talked about the wolves in the cages. So there'll be a cage here with a wolf, one here, one in the treehouse area, one in the village area. There'll be the cauldron here, and there'll be that carved wolf statue. There'll be the letters on the tree stump and the urn situation. So Master Yanda asks, how do you get inspired to create? Do you have to be around people to share the same interests? That does help me a lot to bounce ideas off people. We've worked out of our houses now, which Hiro loves. Oh, he's gone to sleep now. Or he's going to sleep. You know, we have the team meets in person sometimes, and we also use like Skype or chat situations to talk to each other face to face through the computer. Sometimes there's a classic text chat, so we can chat with each other. I guess my closest peer for that kind of thing is Travis with Rostov, and I'll bounce some ideas off of him sometimes, or Beezus, B Cotton, depending upon what I'm working on. I might talk with him, like I chatted with him about the boss. So there's a barbarian boss here that I asked if we could have like a slightly larger than normal, not superhuman large, not like troll large, but like like a head or two higher than everyone else. He was a big dude. It could be the same model. I just want him bigger, and he said, he's gonna work with that idea to try to make boss chief look a little bit different, at least by his size, a little bit different than every other barbarian. I'm just slapping these things down here. Here's a little philosophy of mine regarding Ankhs. I like to put them next to an entry threshold. So when I first started playing this, I was a backer like you guys, or like some of you guys. And when I played, it was always frustrating to not be able to find an Ankh, and there weren't enough in the scene, and it kind of wasn't any predicting where they were. So when I came on the team, one of the things I did was I made sure that every entry and exit threshold had an Ankh. So this exit archway will have an Ankh next to it, because when you pop up, you should kind of know that I know where I came from. Maybe the way to resurrect is back where I came from. And then I extended to things like this. So if you die in here, there'll be an Ankh here, since there's a wave battle that it'll resurrect you out here. But it's next to the entry threshold, next to this. I'll probably also have one in this on this canyon ramp, so there'll be one over here. Oh, look, I'm blocking my thing. That's the gate right there. Silly. I'll fix that. And then I'll have like another one like up here somewhere, like around this threshold area. So like, anytime you've earned a new spot like that, probably like one like out here, or actually probably like in here, probably not out here, because if you die out here, I kind of want you to go all the way back once you have earned the inside. So if you're inside, there'll be like an Ankh right here, and then in here, the Ankh right there. And you get out here, the Ankh over here, and then inside here, the Ankh in here. Oh, there it is, buried. So that's my Ankh philosophy. And then also, often, like in the wilderness, they'll be scattered here and there. It might if it's in the wilderness, if there's like a stream in the wilderness and there's a bridge, there's a good chance there's an Ankh next to that bridge. If there's a dock, there's a good chance there's an Ankh next to that dock. So any one of these travel or exit thresholds, there'll be an Ankh. So that's my Ankh philosophy. I also don't like the idea of so as you zone into a scene, there's probably some delay, and the delay is different for each person, depending upon their computer capabilities. And I really want to avoid you zoning into a scene and potentially being put to death just because you zoned into a scene. Like I don't want bad guys like right there. So I try to make sure that that entry archway is perfectly clear of threats, so you can feel mostly safe that the default entry to a scene is not going to have any bad guys right there. Also, since you potentially could resurrect right there, I don't want you to die when you resurrect, so it also works. Now, it's less strict of a rule for alternate entry scenes. Like if there's one way into a scene, and maybe like one way into like the say a dungeon that's nested in that scene, both of those are going to be pretty safe entry points. If there's like an alternate way in that you've maybe unlocked, so now there's like you can get into north from the north or from the south entrance. Maybe the south one, the alternate one. I may not be as strict with where the bad guys are. I do want to be that strict though, but I might be a terrible person sometimes, and there might be a patroller who might sometimes come nearby, but it's still kind of terrible when I avoid it. I want you to feel safe coming in. What else? I don't know. There's other philosophies I have, but I'm trying to think of which ones are interesting for a live stream. Oh, I like to spawn bad guys facing the way the player might be coming from. So for example, if I were to, you see that little line? That indicates which way the NPC will be facing when he spawns. At this is a spawn marker, this green square. And I can actually rotate it. There's actually multiple guys right there, but I can rotate it. So you can see how they're facing the camera, because this is where a player might come in. A player might come in this way, and if he sees that NPC spawn, the NPC should be spawned in a reasonable direction. Like I don't want to spawn him facing the wall, because it's kind of weird. What's even cooler sometimes is to spawn a guy, like say like here, like in front of this tent, and you can sort of like think in your mind like, oh, I guess maybe he's coming from the tent, instead of just spawning like right in the middle of the open plains. It's kind of a little weird. I like spawning him like next to a door. Like I might, like this guy might spawn this guy next to that gate. Show you a little better. Spawn that guy next to that gate. In fact, let's move this gate. Gate number 2. I guess that's good for now. My dog's getting up again. So you can see right here, I like the idea of making something look lived in, and the easy way to do that here is to make that path that the NPC came out of. You know, this is well worn, so there's nothing there. And the NPC came out this way. And this is not the finished version. Yes, I'll just noodling around right now before I log off. before, just sort of like eventually I'll just you know, kind of dirty up the terrain. Break up the patterns. So this, I don't know exactly how this is going to lay out, but you know, roughly speaking, your eye will be drawn to the path. So when you come in, you'll see that there's a path down the middle. I'll probably have some sort of cauldron or something in the middle here. And then as I add in the side activities, the virtue activities, you know, I'll adjust the space for them. So that's why I don't need to go super perfect for them. But alright, I'm gonna go take care of the dog and other business. I'm gonna sign out, but one thing I need to do that I didn't do the last time, which was a while ago. I didn't do the rating. Alright, I gotta figure this out. I think it should be easy. I guess I just do it in the chat window. Oh, you're welcome for showing you all this and answering all the questions. You also have a great day. And I see Serial Noob is on, so I'm going to see if I raid him. Here we go. Is it going to work? Oh, there we go. Nice. So if you guys want to go raid him, then there you go. Thanks, everyone. Oh, do I have to hit the raid now? Or is it countdown? Raid now. Here we go. Boom.
Can't give you any prizes if you do not have a character in game. Just so you know, Snoopy. Thank you very much for the follow. Shroud of the Avatar just raided with 53 people. Oh my lord. Here we go, guys. I don't think I'm going anywhere. Hey, Shroud, thank you so much for the raid. That is awesome of you. I'm just here working on my tridents here with Vadahar here in Twitch. Good to see you guys. I got a 100 Kodo giveaway going on right now. Guys, get in on it. Exclamation mark R. ARGH, guys. Get in. Nice, nice, nice. Don't touch my